Hey guys, my name is Cole. I'm a graphic designer and I guess welcome to my first video. I'm super excited. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, haven't found the right project to do it for, and I think this one is it. If you've clicked on this video, you obviously know I'm going to redo Dixie D'Amelio's Be Happy single cover. A little bit about me, I am a graphic designer and creative director in the music industry. I always get asked how I do what I do. If there's any tips and tricks I have, is there anything I can teach a younger designer who wants to get into the field? And I think the only thing I can kind of tell you is just learn through process and learn through working. So I'm gonna show you my process today. I'm gonna show you how I do this and hopefully you like the end result. Let's get into the video. I'm just gonna start by opening a 10x10 Photoshop file. I imported a bunch of my favorite, just right off the bat textures. This is the file that I imported, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna create this vinyl texture where the edges are a little bit highlight or shadowed to give it a little bit more of dimension. It makes it look a little bit more like a physical product as I'm going to be designing the CD and vinyl. I have them just a little bit dark and then I lightened it a little bit for this one, but so I have it set to color dodge at 50% and then this one's set to darken color at 45. This is just my go-to background I've been using pretty recently. Feel free to put in any paper texture or anything you want. This is just the one that I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go and choose this photo. There was a bunch of them I was playing around with. I think I'm gonna go with this one for a few reasons, but the other one I was thinking of going with was this one, and I liked it a lot because of how interesting the photo was, but I think at the end of the day, I want something that's a little bit more mundane and simplistic that I can then put textures and do the effect I'm thinking about on top rather than an interesting photo. So I like this one. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna stick with this one. It has a nice, really cool tone gray in the background. I'm gonna make this a little bigger and just scale it for now. Also, I don't need it to be a smart object. And I pulled these images from Google, speaking that this is a personal project for me. It's nothing crazy or not going into production, so there's no copyright issues. But if you are doing a cover for an artist, make sure they have clearance to the images. So I'm just gonna rasterize this so I can do a few things to it. I'm gonna take this edge and I'm just gonna select the top and just give it a little bit more air. And there's multiple ways to do this. I'm gonna go like that. And it really, with all the textures I'm planning to apply on top, it's not gonna be that noticeable. That's a little bit blurred in a horizontal or a vertical aspect, but we can get through it. Here's where kind of the magic of the pre-setting up of all the textures below come into play. I'm gonna go to blending modes, and I talked a little bit about them in the beginning, but these are just your go-to tools for any texture. And you can see as I go down the list, the photo starts to get affected. And so these tend to trail towards the darkers being illuminated or the darkers being pulled out. And these ones down here are for all the lighter images. And then these kind of take the highlights and the shadows and do different things to both. I'm thinking about one of these two. So you can see that if I duplicate this image and I just put the original one on, you can see the difference it makes instantly. So I like that. What is that color term? I don't like how that washes her out. And I could go back and edit the photo, but I don't love what that does. I'm gonna go to linear burn. I'm gonna knock it down a bit. What about like 90? I like that. I can work with that. I might even, so the cool thing about blending options is when you duplicate and apply more blending options and blending layers to different ones, they're gonna affect the one below it. So I might even linear burn this again and just put it to around like 20 or 30. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see the difference that makes. And she does look a little red, but I'm planning on applying a gradient map to adjust the colors anyway, and I can color correct in the end. But this definitely gives me the textures and the shadows and the darkness that I'm looking for in a song like this. Now, I'm happy with this. I think this is pretty generic, and it's a really cool textured photo. How do I get it to match the tone and the idea of the song? This is something I thought about for a while, and I think I want to do something interesting and cool that will really level up in the CD packaging that I'm gonna do a little bit later on, but the original one has this cloud with the raindrops or drips, I don't know what you'd call them. I want to take that and make it a little bit more interesting and professional looking. So I found this really cool texture, and it's like raindrops on a window. It's really high res, so I can scale it up or scale it down depending on how it's going to affect the photo. But I like the idea that I don't want it to be perfectly you're seeing through the glass, but I do like that concept of putting a wall or a texture or a blur in between us and the subject. It kind of fits with the toneness of the song. I'm gonna play with blending options here, and I think I want to keep the highlights because it's getting to be a dark photo, so I'm gonna go down here. See, like, this is becoming really interesting. I love that. I really like that, but I just think it's too, maybe I can do another layer with that. I just don't like how this affects her skin. It makes her skin look not glowy and perfect as we want it to be in the cover. Like, see, this is cool because it affects all the darks, but then her skin, which is a mid-tone, isn't affected so much by the texture. And I'm wondering if I bring this down, maybe, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm liking this. I like what it's doing. I'm wondering if I should play the placement. I know if I move it up, it's gonna look like this little dot is coming out of her nose. I like that one raindrop there. Might be a little bit distracting, but I do like that you can still see the edges. And there's some sense of clarity, but yet haziness. So kind of from the original photo to now, you can kind of see a huge difference that's in play here. I'm gonna apply a new adjustment layer, and I'm gonna do a gradient map. So what's really cool about gradient maps is they basically will recolor your entire image or whatever you're working on. And especially if you do an adjustment layer, it'll be not just a layer below it, everything. So what it'll do is it'll take all the lights and acquire them to one color, all the darks and acquire them to another color that you assign. And you can get some really interesting effects with this. So for now, like right here, you can see this is on blue. So all the lights are gonna turn blue. I can turn that red or pink, for instance. And if I want the darks to be blue, I could go in and do that. Or I can make them green. And then you get this really interesting effect. I'm gonna use this, but I'm gonna like make it pretty subtle. I have a few that I have used or made in the past that I really like that I think I can adjust. I like this, but I like the cooler tones. That's interesting because that will cool down the mid-tones. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna knock this down. Yeah, this is looking really good. I like, yeah, that makes it so much better. I like, it brings her skin tones just back because I don't want her to look orange, and that's what linear burn is gonna do. But I do want a little bit more. I think she gets washed out here, and I do like what then this does to bring back some of those highlights but keep the shadows. I might even bring it up a little bit more or down a little bit more. Yeah, I want her to still look tan and nice. I'm very happy with this. I think in the end I'll probably do a little bit of color correction, but for right now this is really dope. I'm gonna now think about type. There's a few different ways I'm thinking about doing it. I like this idea of glass and putting or having a see-through moment. So I'm wondering if the type would almost be like on the mirror of your car where it says objects in mirror closer than they appear. I wonder if we could do a moment like that where it says be happy, but to her, so it's flipped horizontally. So it's backwards to us, but it would be correct to her. So now I'm gonna make a sub copy, and I'm just gonna really bring that in because there's no need for it to be that far apart. I think that's really important whenever you're doing type for an artist. Play with those things, play with the kerning and tracking, play with the boldness, italicizing things, because it's only gonna help just make it all read really smoothly, but also just be a little bit more customizable to your client and who you're working for. I'm gonna make her name smaller. I don't want it to be as big, and I'm just gonna center these two together to make sure we're perfectly aligned, there we go. And now here's what fun comes, horizontal. I'm liking that a lot. I think it could be smaller, and I think I'm gonna tilt it a little bit, just to make it a little bit imperfect. I'm gonna take this type, I'm gonna go filter, blur. I'm doing motion blur. I'm gonna make it kind of match the angle of the rain. I wanna do like so little. So you can kind of see the difference. It's super hard edge there. Let's zoom in so we can really see. It's a really super hard edge there, and then this just feathers it out just a little bit. Let's see. I don't hate that at all. I like that a lot. I think it's really interesting. I might try this as one line. Boom. Somewhere in the middle, maybe. I like that Y strand. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, cool. So this is good for the single cover. I'm gonna get another cider, and then I'm gonna come back to walk you through the CD and vinyl packaging. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a CD package, because there's a few remixes of the song, and I think that, let's say there's an acoustic version that's 4 songs, well enough to be in a sample CD. I think it's a really cool piece that her fans could have. So I'm gonna do a CD, and I'm also probably gonna just mock it up at a 7-inch vinyl, just because I think that would be nice to have a clear vinyl to go with it for the rain. But my main focus will be, I wanna look at using the jewel case of a CD. So it's pretty transparent, which is really nice. And I think Kanye's, I'm holding this up as a great example, has this transparent sticker on it. So all the type or an image can be printed on a clear sticker that you can see through. So my whole idea was to have that rain texture be on the outside of the CD and then have her be on the inside of the booklet. So the way kind of a jewel case works is you can take this booklet out and the cover's on a booklet, but have the rain texture be here. I think it'd be really cool, and then it gives you a lot of real estate to play with, because there is some awesome images from her video of her underwater that I want to take advantage of, because I don't think they fit the cover necessarily, but I do think it could be really cool for packaging purposes. So in order to do that, I'm gonna do a few things. I'm first gonna take this outer layer of all the effects and the type off and just save this. I'm gonna bring it into this mockup. This is a plain old jewel case mockup. It's great because it has the disc, it has the background, and then you can put a cover in. I don't like the way it edits the cover in itself, so I'm gonna put it in manually. And let's see, and that should, I'm gonna try to just match what it would actually size it to be. I like this CD cover a lot, so let's do that. And I'm gonna bring all of these outer layers over, and I'm going to scale them like this and see if I can get something that's pretty close to what I'm looking for. And that is looking really good. That's looking really cool. I think it's doing exactly what I want. So when you take the booklet out, it'll look like this. So it's a pretty nice, beautiful photo with no type. This is the type on it. Cool. So now the next part of this is I want to work on what it looks like on the inside. I'm thinking of using this image. I really like this. This is from the music video. I think it's a really gorgeous image of her. I couldn't get the crazy highest quality, but I'm just using it in a mock-up, so it should be okay. I'm gonna color grade it, and then I'm gonna bring in this paper texture and just mess with it until I find one that I really like. I was on linear dodge before. I'll probably keep it there. I might even go to linear color. And then I'm just gonna bring it above and put a screen layer on it, and I just blurred that ever so slightly, and you can see kind of, it gives it a little bit more of a glow. So I'm gonna save that one out, and then bring that in to our jewel case mockup. So for the back art, I'm gonna bring this in, move it a little bit just to get the right placement. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna save that out, and then the mockup should auto update. The whole moment of this is to see how the outer raindrops effect with this. So let's see. And that's really cool. That's gorgeous. Wow, this is exactly what I wanted to do. Great, okay. The thing I'm gonna work on is the CD disc. And what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna just basically use the same image, but I wanna make it a little bit brighter and stand out a little bit more. But let's go to the disc. I'm gonna drop that in. And that looks really good. I'm just gonna put a legal line on it just because every CD has to have a legal line. This is also where I'm gonna put Be Happy, Dixie D'Amelio. So I want the CD to be really gorgeous and clean. I don't wanna put a lot of type on it because it doesn't need it. So let's stick to that. And then let's save that out and let's just see what that looks like in jewel case mockup. Turn the disc on. Wow, yep, that is exactly what I wanted to do. So I added a brightness and contrast just to bring it up a little bit so you can kind of see the difference. Yeah, and let's put our outer on. That looks beautiful. Super, super pleased with that. This is basically all I'm gonna do for the CD, and then I'm gonna work on a vinyl mockup and I'll put it all together and show you what it looks like. There you have it. It was a long video, but I think I got everything in there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions of any other covers I should redo or anything I should make into a vinyl or any other design questions or comments or fun projects you'd like to see me do, please put it in the comments below. I would love to do them. And again, Dixie, if you ever need anyone to do your album covers or single covers, I will gladly do it for you. And that goes out to anyone. Please reach out through Instagram or comments if you have any other questions. I'll put all my links and contacts below, and see you in the next video.